Farrah, welcome to Women Investor Wednesdays. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Beth.
I'm so excited that you are here. Before we get started, I'd just like to tell the audience why we're here. You've attended the summit, so you know, but during COVID, I had learned a terrible stat that of all of the investors in commercial real estate or even real estate, in the domestic US, only 3% were women, and half of those were inherited or women who were signing on their husband's guarantees, which I thought was deplorable and wanted to figure out if that was really true. So I started asking my girlfriends, and I said, do you invest? And they go, yeah. I go, well, where do you invest? The stock market. Well, why don't you invest in real estate? Well, I don't have $1 million. Like, well, you don't need $1 million. Well, the math. Well, okay. Have you ever rented a place? I mean, it's women especially put these fears and these obstacles in front of them. And so I kept asking and debunking all of these myths. And finally, many of them just said, well, I don't know any other women doing it, which made sense since there's such a small amount. So I did a virtual summit where I had 100 women. I interviewed 8 women like you, and we had 92 women watching, and everyone loved it. They went into breakout rooms on different asset classes they were interested in, fix and flips, Airbnbs, shopping centers. And we have since done 4 live summits. You were there last year. But then I realized with only capping the attendance at the live summits at 250, that there's a way to get more women involved and more women exposure, which is why we started Women Investor Wednesdays, which is where we are today. Awesome. So I think you might be my 100th interview. I'm getting I'm getting very close to the 100th interview.
That's awesome. And you've been doing it for a couple of years now?
Yeah. I started it after the 4th summit, and our 6th is coming up in March. So I realized that I had decided, because at the summit, I don't know if you noticed last year how many women are investing with each other in the room. And I realized that that's happening because it's so intimate. Like there isn't 500 people in the room. So with only a small group, 250, I wanted that to continue. I think that's really important, and it's helping women get in. So I decided after the 4th summit to cap it always at 250. And that's when I said, that's going to limit the exposure to the idea and the mission. And that's when I decided to do the weekly podcasts.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, it does make it more intimate, and it makes it less intimidating for people. For sure.
Yeah. Did you enjoy being there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I met some great people there. Yes. And all your speakers were amazing. So I learned something from each one of them. So yeah, definitely. Are
you coming back this year?
I have another thing going on at the same time. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I'll try. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure yet, but
all right.
I'll see. Yeah.
So tell us about, your investing journey. If you can remember going back to what was the first thing that you invested in besides like your own home?
It was back in 2014. It was a single family home. So I found a suburb in the city of Chicago. So it's not in the city, but surrounding. And it was just a simple brick, 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. And that was pretty much my first investment. And at that time, I didn't have any money saved or anything like that. So I had gotten a private money lender to be able to fund that deal.
So do you remember how much it was?
Yeah, $75,000.
And how much did you borrow?
I was able to borrow 100% of the purchase and the rehab. So I borrowed close to $95,000.
How were you scared or not really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was scared. So I actually ended up taking some classes. So I was scared because first of all, I'm still divorced, but I was divorced at the time. So I'm taking care of these 2 kids on my own. And for the longest time, I was trying to figure out how people make money. And so I had a corporate job, But with the two kids, on me being responsible for the two kids, I was like, all right, this is just enough for the day-to-day expenses. So I was like, what can I do to make more money? So the first thing I actually did was I went back to get my undergrad, thinking that this was gonna like help. So then after that, I was like, oh, I want to play with the big boys. So I'm gonna go get my MBA, so immediately go back and get my MBA in 2013. And then I go and show my boss, I'm like, hey, I got my degree. And she's like, oh, great. And she gives me like a 15% increase in pay. But that 15% increase is like $100 and some every 2 weeks. So I was like, oh my God, this is not going to cut it. Like, there's got to be another way. And so then I ended up taking some courses, and part of the courses was a network of other people that were investing. So I was able to connect with them, get advice from them, and then kind of help me, each step of the way on the first deal. And that's where I got my private money lender from, because the deal was so good that they were willing to, fund me everything. Otherwise, I didn't really have any savings.
So what courses? Like, how did you even think I should do real estate? Where did that thought go in your head?
So there was I started Googling like local. The first thing I did was I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was my number one book.
Okay.
And then I joined like their coaching program. At the time it was like, I don't know, it was like the basic one. I put on my credit card, it was like $3,000. And so, but they were like teaching me from that.
We've all done that.
So they're teaching me from Utah. Okay. And I'm here in Chicago, and they're like on hot pads, and they're showing me like this suburb. I'm like, oh, this might be a good suburb for you. And it's like one of those suburbs that has high crime. Like I would never go there type of suburbs. So then I realized, I'm like, okay, like, I think I got what I needed from this, but they did give me one piece of advice that I took with me. And that was, go to your local RIA group and just start connecting with people. And that's what I did.
Tell the audience what RIA stands for.
Real Estate Investment Association. So basically, like most cities, like at least bigger cities, have local groups that do real estate. Nowadays, it's not even just there's chapters out there, but there's a lot of groups kind of doing real estate, like their own little thing.
Right.
So they'll have meetups.
Right.
And so I went on meetup.com and I looked up the local ones next to me, and I found one, and that's how I got it into it.
That's awesome. So you took some courses. You're like, okay, I got my degree. As a single mom, going back and getting your undergrad and then master's, and then realizing, oh my gosh, should I just waste all that time and money? It didn't get me what I wanted. So you're obviously a very determined young woman, because I don't know how many women would have done that, or even people would have done that and then said, okay, well, this didn't work. Now what else? Right. I'm going to do something else. So we've all put those coaching programs on our credit cards when we couldn't afford it, me included. So now you're going to the RIA groups. You decide you're going to buy a house, single family house, and you get a hard money loan. Do you remember how much the interest was on the hard money loan?
It was actually private money. My first one is a private money. So the interest was, they charged 2 points up front and then 1% a month. So 12% for the year.
So what's the difference between private money and hard money?
Private money is could be anybody like you, me, a family member, or anybody that does real estate investment. So they have funds in a 401k or an IRA account, or money just sitting in the bank account. So it's going to an individual and just basically asking them for money. So it's just like a loan from an individual.
Like family and friends.
Family, friends, yeah, or people that you network with, that type of thing.
Okay.
People, yeah.
And what's different from that to a hard money loan?
Hard money loan is usually a company where they give you 85% or 90% of purchase price, depending on your experience level, and 100% rehab. So you'll have to bring like 10 to 15% to the table. Yeah. So you found a person in this RIA group, and they decided they'd give you all of the money and the rehab. So you must have been able to tell this person, because what did you think? Were you going to fix it up and rent it, or were you going to fix it up and flip it? What was the plan on the first deal? The plan was to rent it. It was in a great rental market. And the numbers were really good, really good. So that's why they agreed to fund the whole thing. It's not like, it's not the norm. The norm is not, unless you have a family, a friend, or maybe somebody wants a little stake in the game or whatever the case is. But they underwrote it. They've been doing business investing for a while. So, but it was in a good pocket. I could have flipped it as well. So it was, I had strategy for both. But because I had a W-2 full-time job, to me, the smarter thing to do was accumulate wealth by keeping properties rather than just selling it. And then that money sits in my account. Now I have taxes to pay. I'll probably squander that money away on, I don't know, something, where purse or shoes or I don't know, whatever the case is. So I was like, let me make smart decisions rather than being tempted. Let me just build my rental portfolio. So I did that. I mean, I built it from 1 to about 50 rentals, where I just kind of squeezed myself as much as possible, so I could then relax later on. That was my strategy.
That's amazing. And you were in your 30s when you started this.
Yes.
Did you do private money the whole way, or did at some point your rental income, how did the capital stack work as you went? Because 50 is amazing. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So I did both. I did hard money and I did private money. So what I would do is I started networking with other investors who would want to give me private money. Now, if I did 1 successful, 2 successful, 5 successful, now I have credibility. So now there's a point where people are calling me and asking me, hey, do you have any deals? Because I've got, 300,000 sitting in the bank or 500,000 sitting in the bank. So it's just a part of, putting yourself out there. So what I would do is I would, the first 10, 15 deals, I was kind of shy. Like I wouldn't put myself out on social media. But after that, once I got 15 under my belt, I started putting my projects on social media. And so that's when I started getting more and more people. So I use a combination of both. So hard money and private money. And then my rental income that was coming in, I didn't touch that because I needed that for growth. And, you never know when a rehab, might go south for whatever reason, or maybe your ARV, the appraised value of a home, maybe you thought it was going to be 300, but it came in at 270, and now I have to bring $20,000 or $30,000 to the closing table. So you never know any of those situations. So I just kind of kept that as on the side, while I always use other people's money to grow my portfolio.
Interesting. And they were always about around that same deal, 2 points up front and a point. The 12%, I mean, is not bad. I mean, I've heard obviously much worse.
Yeah, it's 1% a month till you hold it. Now, as I got more credibility and more experience, I was able to negotiate that 2 points to 1 point. I had a lender who didn't charge me anything at all because in their mind, the risk was a lot less just because of my experience level. Yeah.
That's amazing. And do you still own all 50 of them?
I do.
That's amazing. Are they all paid off?
No. They all have mortgages on them. So
do they have regular mortgages?
Yeah. So what I did is I just refinanced them to a 30-year mortgage. And then for each property, I would say on average, I get about 600 net cash flow after all expenses. Some of them are higher, some of them are lower. But about 12 of those actually are Airbnbs. So I get more passive on those. And
do you have any partners?
No. Actually, I have 2 properties that I have partnerships with a good friend of mine. We wanted to just work on stuff together just because we're good friends. There was really no need because she has her own portfolio and I have my own portfolio, but out of friendship, we're like, hey, let's just do this together. But everything else is no, I'm no partners. I'm on my own.
That's amazing. So I assume at some point you quit your W-2.
Yes, I did. So once I hit my 40th rental, it was in 2021. I've always dreamed of never having to wake up to an alarm clock because, being single mother of 2 kids, and you don't get much sleep. And then that alarm goes off for work. And I was like, that one day where I don't have to wake up to an alarm clock. So that was in 2021 when I hit my 40th rental. And I was like, all right, I have enough passive income coming in 2 times what I was making, you know? So I'm like, I feel safe and secure, and I'm able to live the lifestyle that I want. So that's when I eventually,
Okay.
resigned.
So you started in 14 and you quit W-2 in 21, so 7 years.
Yes.
Because I repeat this a lot on this podcast because, as you know, there's a lot of podcasts out there that tell people to quit their W-2 because they can get passive income to replace it quickly. And you and
No.
I know that that's not the case.
Correct. I always like I teach real estate as well now, so I always tell my students, I'm like, keep your W-2 as long as you can, especially if you're not, you know, if you're enjoy working or it's okay, keep it as long as you can, because the stability, right? And you just grow a lot faster. Yeah. What happens is, I've seen people quit their job and then they're so stressed out because they're hoping that this flip is going to turn out the way that it's going to, and then and sometimes it doesn't, you know, so it just causes chaos. Yeah.
Okay, so 50 rentals, you know, congratulations. And now when did you start doing more of the Airbnbs?
Okay, so what happened was in around 2021, I believe it was, right after COVID was started to, tone down a little bit. What I did was, there was a property that I had bought in a suburb of Chicago, like just, you know, it's actually very close to where I live. And I was gonna just rent it out like a long-term rental, but I started hearing stuff on Airbnb about Airbnb. So I was like, let me just try this one, you know? And so I was like, let me just try it. I had enough funds. So once I refinanced it, like I had 30 grand that I was able to pull out because it was a good deal. So I was like, let me just use that money to furnish it. So then I furnished it and I could not believe the results. Like, it was booked 99% of the time for a whole year. I was making like 10,000 gross at the time per month.
Wow.
So it was close to, like, I have a property manager because I didn't want to manage it. So it was like, I was like netting close to like 7 grand a month on that. And I was like, whoa. So I started telling a couple people, and then they're like, they actually showed them the results and they're like, what the, you know, like, so they started doing it. And then what I did was, it kind of saturated the market, because there was a bunch of Airbnbs that came in the area, but now it's better. But you would never think, in my mind, I would think like, okay, vacation areas are where Airbnbs are. But like doing this, I learned that as long as you're in a community of, you know, you have a good, fairly decent population, people are coming for baby showers, for bridal showers, for funerals, for corporate, you know, all those sort of stuff. So then I took that model and I was like, all right, I'm going to, like, as my next 10, 12 property, that's exactly what I did. I made sure though that in case it didn't work out for Airbnb, that it would work out for a long-term rental. So I always have a strategy for either, you know, flipping, renting, or Airbnb, because here in the suburbs, a lot of the Airbnbs, the suburbs are shutting them down. They want them 30 days or more. So we have to keep that in mind, that it could be shut down at any point. So then at that point, I'm turning it into a midterm rental or a long-term rental.
Amazing. And how many Airbnbs do you have now?
I have a total of 12.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've got one in Florida and then the rest in Chicago suburbs.
Where in Florida?
Port Charlotte.
Yep. So do you, so you mentioned, so I used to be a member of Commercial Academy, and you mentioned before we got on that you just joined it. So are you thinking about investing in commercial?
Yes, I'm absolutely moving towards that. So I love residential, but now I want, like, I'm like, you know, I get bored after a while. I'm like, what's next? So I'm still going to do some here and there, but I want to invest my time and energy in learning commercial and actually moving to that level, because I've heard that one deal can, you know, make up for 10 residential properties. So we'll see, you know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
but you can also lose that much too.
That's true.
Right.
I want to take my time. Yeah.
Yeah. What asset classes are you interested in?
So I'm looking into retail, and then possibly a multi-units, 20 and above, if the numbers make sense. But retail and flex spaces are where I'm heading towards.
Great. So you wrote a book.
Yes.
When did you write the book? Diaries of a Female Real Estate Investor.
So I had, when I got COVID and I couldn't do anything for 2 weeks, I decided that, I had started my book because what would happen would people would ask me, oh my God, how did you invest in real estate?
Can I pick your brain?
Yeah. Right? Like, how did you do it being a single mom? How did you do it working full time? How did you have the time? How did you do it with no money? Because I didn't have, a savings, right? So I would give these people like 5-6 minute answers, and then I would think about it. I'm like, there's just so much more I got to share, So I'm like, I'm just gonna put everything into a book. And when people ask me, I'm like, here, you just, read this book. So I actually finished it up when I had COVID. I was down for 2 weeks, and I'm just like, let me just work on this. But it did take me a total of like beginning to end about 4 months to write it, but I finished it up during that time. So 2021.
So where can people get a hold of that book?
It's on Amazon.
Sale?
Yeah. Okay, it's on Amazon. Yeah. Actually, I have a copy of it right here. It looks like this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everyone get Farrah's book. All right. So, no partners. Have you ever thought about syndicating, or creating a fund, or you're happy doing one deal at a time?
In the commercial space, yes, definitely.
Okay.
That's where, I'm not going to do anything on my own in commercial.
Are you going to start as an LP and kind of watch and then become your own GP?
No.
You're going to GP it right from the start?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, girl. That's awesome. Where do you get your drive and determination?
I think initially it came from me having to take care of the kids on my own because I knew I wasn't going to get child support because my ex at the time wasn't working. So I guess that responsibility, maybe that's what it is my kids. But I think I've always been kind of a competitive person too, especially when it comes to sports. Like I want to win. So I think maybe I just want to win at life, and I want to experience life in a way that the average person does not. So, we're on earth and there's so much beauty on earth and there's so many experiences. And obviously in one lifetime, I'm not going to be able to experience everything. But now, I don't count my wealth based on the number of dollars in my bank account. I count my wealth based on the number of experiences that I have in life. Because the more experiences I have, whether they're challenges or they're great experiences, each challenge has taught me something. And then I come out at the end and I'm like, oh my God, I feel more confident, I feel more powerful. So my whole mindset is I want to get to the highest level as I can get to in the world of experiences. So that's kind of where I'm at.
That's amazing. How old are your kids today?
24 and 22.
That's how old you look.
Thanks.
What are they doing? Are they proud of their mom?
I think they are. Yeah, my older one, he owns about 5 houses. He's doing real estate investing, and then he has his own online businesses and things like that as well. So he's entrepreneur. And my younger one, he's finishing up his last year in college, computer science and math.
Amazing. Yeah. What kind of online businesses does your son have?
He owns some Discord channel with 500,000 followers. So he has people who pay him to advertise. That's one of them. He's building games. I don't know, whatever. He's always telling me about something. I don't it's like a different generation than me. So I don't quite understand it.
My son has a podcast on superheroes. And millions and millions and millions of views. It's a whole new world.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's really cool.
It's a whole new world. They have a Patreon community that pay them extra money for different extra episodes. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, but he does understand the importance of real estate, which is a couple years ago, he wanted me to just do the real estate for him. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it for you. You have to bring something to the table. So he ended up giving me $250,000. He's like, is this enough to bring to the table? I'm like, okay, I can work with this.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good job, Mom.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So I would say 70 to 80% of the folks that watch the podcast have yet to dip their toe in the water is in investing. They have the money. They're trying to overcome their fear a little bit. What advice would you give them to take that step?
I would say the first thing is start shifting the mindset a little bit to start believing in things. So about a year and a half ago, I ended up going and doing, I became a life coach and learned a lot about the subconscious mind. I'm also trained in neurolinguistic programming. So in that, I learned a lot about why we do the things we do is based on what we programmed our brain, or as a child, or as we were growing up. So the first thing is start paying attention to your own inner dialogue. Like, are you saying to yourself, oh man, this is too hard? Are you saying to yourself, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, this is not for me, you're lucky, I'm not? So if you are saying those things to yourself, catch yourself and then change it, reframe it so that you're saying, I can do this, or, start with baby steps, but at least instead of being, I'm not good enough, I think I can do this, to I can do this, like you start making those small changes. So mindset first. Number 2 is surrounding yourself with people who are doing it. Just going to your local meetup groups, talking real estate. So if your conversations are mostly about Desperate Housewives or something like that, that's kind of where you're going to put your energy in, right? But if you're talking about real estate, your focus, wherever your focus is where your energy goes. So that is, you're going to attract that back to you. So start meeting people who are doing real estate. And number 3, get educated, because if you aren't educated, your confidence level stays low. So educating yourself helps you take action. So once you do those 3 things, take little baby steps, take action. So you going to a local meetup group, you picking up my book and reading it, those are all little actionable steps that are going to get you to your next move. And we don't know our path, right? We don't know, in our mind, we can make a vision of where we want to be, but we don't know what path we're going to take, right? So the path opens up as you take the first step. I never knew I was going to have 50 properties. I thought I was going to have 5 and be done with it, but yeah.
Congratulations. Great job, Mom. Coming from a single mom of 2 boys, I can appreciate so much. And thank you so much for being on Women Investor Wednesday podcast. And I hope I see you at the summit, but no sweat. If you can't make it, maybe come next year, and maybe you'll be on stage next year.
Sure. Yeah. I'm going to check. I'll check.
You'll talk about your first commercial real estate
deal. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Farrah.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.